You know, sometimes a dream just hits you, right? Like not just a weird dream you forget, but one that really sits in your chest when you wake up. I had one of those a few nights ago, and honestly, it felt like a punch I didn't see coming.
Oh, I totally get that. There are some dreams, especially when they're super vivid, that just linger. What was yours about? If you don't mind sharing, of course.
No, I actually want to talk about it. It was all my teeth fell out. Not just one or two, but all of them. They crumbled, just slipped loose, scattered into my hands like tiny pieces of chalk. I remember looking down at them, thinking, what is happening to me? Why am I falling apart like this?
Whoa, that's a classic, isn't it? The teeth falling out dream. People always jump to the worst conclusion with that one, like it's some kind of cosmic warning or something. They do. It's one of those deeply ingrained superstitions. Someone's going to die, they always say. And in that half-asleep state, it's so easy to let that fear take root, even if logically you know it's not true.
Exactly. I woke up with this thick heaviness, that kind that sits there like it already knows something you don't, and for a split second I wondered if all those people were right, because that dream genuinely felt like something was breaking.
That's so unsettling. Our minds can really play tricks on us with those symbolic dreams. But you're right, that old superstition about teeth dreams meaning death, it's not true. I've read a lot about it. It's actually usually about fear, isn't it? Like a sense of powerlessness.
That's exactly what I came to realize. But it took a bit for it to click, because yesterday my phone buzzed, and it was my brother. He sent me a message, the kind you read twice because your heart just refuses to take it in the first time.
Oh man, sounds heavy. What happened?
He told me our dad had been in so much pain they had to take him in. They gave him oxycodone, but it barely touched it. The pain, he said, was still there, and it's likely going to stay. He said Dad is probably going to have to suffer through the rest of his life. And that Mom is doing her best, but she's so worn down she talks like she'd rather die herself.
Oh, John, I am so incredibly sorry to hear that. That's just heartbreaking for all of you.
Yeah, truly awful. And it puts that dream into a completely different context, doesn't it? Suddenly it's not a prediction, but a reflection.
Precisely. I sat there holding my phone, reading his words, and suddenly that dream made perfect sense. Not as a prediction of death, but as a mirror. Because what do teeth represent, you know? Strength, stability, the ability to bite back, to speak clearly, to defend yourself. And losing them, that's losing power, losing control, losing the sense that you can protect the people you love, that you can make anything better, that you can stop anything from happening.
That's a really powerful way to put it. It's the dream you have when you're bracing for loss you can't fix. It's that feeling of absolute helplessness.
And it also touches on something so profound about grief. It doesn't wait for final breaths or funeral clothes. It shows up early. It shows up in your sleep, in the pit of your stomach when you're washing dishes or driving. It shows up in the quiet moments when you suddenly feel like a child again, small, scared, wishing someone else could just tell you everything's going to be okay, even when you know it won't be.
Anticipatory grief, they call it. And it's brutal, because you're grieving a loss that hasn't fully happened yet, but you can see it coming. It's a liminal space, isn't it, between what was and what will be, and everything in between is just uncertainty and pain.
Exactly. My dream didn't warn me someone was about to die. It revealed that I was already grieving, even before I had the words for it. It's such a strange thing, isn't it, how the mind speaks a different language at night, how it uses symbols because the truth is too heavy to say directly. It handed me a dream full of falling teeth because it knew I wasn't ready to face the weight of what was happening in daylight.
That's incredibly insightful, John. I think we all have those moments where our subconscious is processing things we're consciously avoiding or can't quite articulate. My dad had a long illness too, and I remember feeling this constant low hum of anxiety. It wasn't a specific fear, just this pervasive dread. Looking back, I realized that was my own form of anticipatory grief.
It's so true, Bob. I remember when my grandmother started declining, it wasn't sudden. It was this slow, uneven, unpredictable process. You'd have good days, bad days, and you never knew what to expect. And the grief of what you had, what you didn't have, and what you'll never get back, it's overwhelming. Old memories just push their way to the surface, and you remember unfinished conversations, or feel the guilt of distance, and just that ache of helplessness.
And the panic, right? That awful, hollow feeling panic of knowing time is running out whether you're prepared or not. There's no fixing it, no turning back the clock. It's just this relentless march forward, and you're just trying to hold on.
Yeah, exactly that. My brother's message was it was heavy. It was loving and honest and full of the pain he's trying to carry with both arms. He asked me to pray for peace, for comfort, for something to ease the suffering that's slowly taking over our family. And I felt that. I felt every word of it. Because sometimes that's all any of us can do, isn't it? Ask for gentleness in a place where gentleness is disappearing. Ask for softness when everything around you is sharp.
It really is. And it's a valid request. Even if you can't change the outcome, you can hope for some alleviation of suffering, for your dad, and for your mom, and for you and your brother. That emotional and spiritual support is crucial.
And for your mom especially, being the primary caregiver, it's a marathon of exhaustion. Not just physical, but emotional and mental too. She's trying to hold it all together while watching her partner, your dad, go through this. That takes an unimaginable toll.
Definitely. It changes the family dynamics so profoundly. Everyone is grieving in their own way, but also trying to support each other, and sometimes the individual grief gets subsumed by the collective burden. It's a complicated ecosystem of pain and love.
That's a really good way to describe it, Liz. An ecosystem of pain and love. And you know, I keep coming back to that dream, because it really clarified things. The dream didn't predict anything. It didn't warn me about death. It didn't whisper doom. It simply echoed the truth I didn't want to face yet. That I'm scared. That I'm powerless. That someone I love is hurting and there's nothing I can do to protect him. That this is the part of life where your heart breaks before the end even arrives.
And accepting that powerlessness is incredibly hard. We want to be able to fix things, especially for our parents, who always seemed invincible when we were kids. To see them vulnerable and not be able to swoop in and make it better, that's a tough pill to swallow.
It completely shatters that childhood illusion, and that in itself is a kind of grief, losing that feeling of them being unshakable. But what you said, John, about dreams revealing what's already here, not what's coming, that's such a powerful reframe. It makes dreams less about prophecy and more about self-understanding, about listening to your own emotional landscape.
Exactly. Our subconscious is constantly working, making sense of our experiences, fears, and hopes. When we ignore those signals during the day, they often bubble up in our dreams. So, your dream wasn't a warning, it was your mind's way of saying, hey, pay attention to this deep emotional state you're in. It's a quiet confession from your own mind that you're bracing yourself for something you can't stop.
And maybe that's the real meaning of a teeth falling out dream. Not prophecy, not superstition, just a reminder that even the strongest people sometimes feel like they're losing pieces of themselves when someone they love is slipping away. It's that deep vulnerability.
It also speaks to how important it is to acknowledge that feeling, to not just push it down. Because if you don't, it just manifests in other ways, like a dream that really shakes you up. Or even worse, it can lead to physical symptoms from all that suppressed stress.
Absolutely. It's a call to allow yourself to feel, to sit with that discomfort and that fear, because it's a natural part of loving deeply. And in allowing it, you can sometimes find a different kind of strength, even in helplessness.
And also, connecting with others, like we're doing now, is so vital. Sharing these experiences, realizing you're not alone in these profound, often isolating feelings, it makes the unbearable a little more bearable.
Yeah, it really does. And whatever happens next, I just hope peace finds its way in. Even a little bit of it. Enough to soften the edges. Enough to make this part of the story bearable for everyone involved. Enough to remind us that fear doesn't mean we're doomed, it just means we love deeply and we're trying to make sense of the impossible.
That's a beautiful sentiment, John. And I think that's the best we can all do in these situations. Hold on to that love, acknowledge the fear, and seek those moments of peace, however small.
Absolutely, and lean on each other. That's what family and friends are for, right? To help carry the load, even when you can't fix it.
Here's to finding that gentleness, even when everything feels sharp. Thanks for sharing such a personal and profound experience with us, John. It really makes you think about how we process our deepest fears.
Thanks for listening, everyone. It truly helps to talk it out, you know?